Roblox is a platform that has been here for a lot of time, and throughout the years it has seen a lot of games that have achieved something grand, whether it be breaking a world record or being the pioneer of a new genre on the platform. Without some of these, Roblox would have probably been way different now. And so in this video, I will be exploring Roblox's most influential games from the platform's inception up until today and discuss what makes them so influential in the first place. Enjoy the video. Coming to you live, the weather! Hello, folks! Yes, so today... Are you kidding me? Another tornado? This is like the 6th time this week. Look at that! Well, at least it isn't heading to our studio, right? Natural Disaster Survival is a game that doesn't need much introduction. What I really like about Roblox games in particular is that the names are usually very straightforward. Imagine you don't know anything about this game and you just see the title. Well, what do you think you do in it? You survive natural disasters, of course. But naming aside, why is this game influential? Well, there are a few reasons. Firstly, it's old as hell. Well, it being old isn't actually the reason, but it is still popular even to this day, having a very consistent player count and contributing to over 3.6 billion visits. This game, which is probably older than most of you watching, is a Roblox classic. You hop on, preferably with a friend, and watch as the world crumbles around you. The disasters go from a simple virus that infects players to earth-shattering earthquakes. This game is fucking tragic, bro. But it is fun and simple, hence why it's managed to maintain a consistent player base even to this day. And you'll be noticing this theme of simplicity with other games later on in the video. Secondly, it's created a niche. Now, if you're not familiar with the term niche, I have a whole video that elaborates on this concept. In short, a niche is essentially a trend where many Roblox games draw inspiration from one specific game. One of my favorite games nowadays is called Something Evil Will Happen, which is quite literally a modern version of Natural Disaster Survival, minus the horrible fall damage. And so, in a way, if it weren't for NDS existing, this game wouldn't exist either, and many other games just like it. Seriously, because Natural Disaster Survival is so old, it's really easy to just hack into it and steal all the assets and just make a clone of your own. On a somewhat related note, there used to be a game called Survive the Disasters that was basically the rival of this game back in 2008, but NDS came out on top. Which brings me to my third reason. It popularized party games, or round-based games. You know, the types of games where you wait for a round to start, and then you and many other players have a similar objective in mind. It might seem rudimentary, yes, but this game was made nearly 2 decades ago, and it set the groundwork for many games to come. And so that's why Natural Disaster Survival is so influential. It's a classic for its time, and whilst it's kind of worse than its modern counterpart, it still has that charm, you know? It's so flippin' retro.
Oh my mama, get this retro slop out of here, bro.
And it's some pretty good fun if you bring the right people. I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10 on the influential scale. It's not as influential as the other games on the list, but if you haven't played it, you're just lying. Work at a pizza place is the first introduction of child labor to Roblox, or in fancier terms, one of the first roleplay games made by Dude One back in 2008. Once again, pretty straightforward. You work at a pizza place, and you can choose many different roles to fulfill in the establishment, each requiring you to do a different task. Just like any minimum wage job, it's tedious. Well, I'm joking. It isn't actually that bad, but having friends to play with definitely helps, as you have someone to verbally scream to and blame for your own misdoings, which is always fun in a workplace environment. Now, the roleplay aspect comes from the job that you have in the game, serving virtual customers and your friends too. With your hard-earned money, you can customize your house and many other things, which are purely cosmetic, but at the end of the day, there is no goal in a role-playing game. You just, you know, do whatever you want. If you want to be a delivery driver or a chef, you can do that. If you want to muck around and throw parties at your house all day, you can also do that. So the reason this game is so influential is because it's just a very simple time waster with a fair amount of things to do. You shut your brain off and you just The funny part about this Roblox game is that it's still being referenced in modern Roblox media even to this day. Well, when I say that, it's mainly Forsaken. Like, literally mainly Forsaken. Even then, Roblox made an official toy of work at a pizza place back when these things were still in production. I mean, this game is pretty influential if you ask me, and it still has a consistent player base just like Natural Disaster Survival. As one of the first major roleplay games on the platform, this gets an 8 out of 10 on the influential scale. People kinda love roleplay games, and it's pretty easy to see why. You don't actually need skill to play them. I mean, I do get a little competitive when I'm on work at a pizza place. Someone's gotta earn that employee of the day or whatever. And hey, I also want to earn your subscription. Haha, so please, if you're enjoying the video so far, feel free to subscribe to my channel. It really helps a lot. Anyways, the game is a pretty important landmark of Roblox history. Speaking of Roblox history, now, I'm gonna be real with you, I've never actually played Murder Mystery 1, but if it's anything like its sequel, Murder Mystery 2, then I know one thing is for certain. There are 3 roles: innocent, sheriff, and murderer. The murderer has to kill everyone, the sheriff has to kill the killer, and the innocents have to survive. However, Murder Mystery 1 is basically lost media at this point, and because talking about random history facts and video essays is boring, all I'll say is this. Murder Mystery 1 is influential because it's one of the first Roblox ports of a game outside of Roblox. What that means is Murder Mystery 1 isn't an original game. It's actually just a copy of a Gary's Mod game mode called Murder. And so this simple little idea changed the trajectory of Roblox for many years to come, inspiring other games and developers to do the same by borrowing an idea from a video game and just recreating it on Roblox and calling it a day. Seriously, at least half of some of the most popular games on Roblox are actually just a clone of a pre-existing video game. Now, it's not to say that's bad or anything, but it's probably part of the reason why people in the gaming community tend to stray away from Roblox. But that has been changing recently, with more and more original and creative ideas showing up. And so, whilst Murder Mystery 1 sits in purgatory, Murder Mystery 2, on the other hand, somehow just keeps getting more and more players. And the creator is just sitting there and farming money off of it. I don't remember the last time this game received a genuine content update, yet there's a whole audience for it, even larger than it was a few years ago. It's just as fun and simple as the other games mentioned prior, so you may be wondering, how do the other games not have as many players? Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the Roblox Black Market. Here you can buy Murder Mystery 2 weapon skins with real money. Not sponsored. But wait, there's more! Some of these go for thousands of dollars, so you better buy one quick before they run out of stock. Not sponsored. You don't want to have a lame, pathetic knife skin, do you? Look at this! Rainbow Christmas tree that costs hundreds of dollars! You want it? It can be yours, using our new and improved ChatGPT-powered, DeepSeek-endorsed artificial intelligence technology. All of these skins are brought to you by our top-of-the-class bots! Yeah, it's bots. Because this game has an actual economy and trading scene, some people try to take advantage of it by sending bots that play the game automatically and farm money, as well as open loot boxes to possibly obtain a cool, rare knife skin that they can then sell for real money. Hence why it's now become an automated business strategy. What was I even talking about? Oh, right, influential things. Well, I think both Murder Mystery 1 and 2 get a 9 out of 10 on the influential scale. It's one of the first games to be a copy of something else outside of Roblox, and the introduction of a trading system in the sequel really changed things. Let's not dwell on it. Moving on. Now, I'm gonna talk about both Phantom Forces and Arsenal because they were created at about the same time and are fairly similar games. They're both first-person shooters and they're of a pretty high quality. Phantom Forces went viral and was one of the first games to make it big outside of Roblox, mainly due to its pretty impressive visuals at the time and its customizability, the freedom to add whatever attachments you want to your guns. We love America. As simple as this game is, because it is just shoot people to win, it feels feels really smooth to play, especially for a decade-old Roblox game. Despite that, it kind of fell off. Several years ago, if your game had 2,000 to 3,000 concurrent players, that would mean your game was top of the class. But now, that just means it's dead as hell. And I kind of understand why, because this game takes a while, dude. Like, each round is very long, and you know, my attention span can't take it. But on the other side of the coin, we have Arsenal, which is doing a little bit better than Phantom Forces. And for this video, I had to revisit all of the games on this list and play them for footage. And I haven't played Arsenal or Phantom Forces since like the pandemic, bro. The Mega Hunt does not count. And wow, okay, Arsenal is a little more addictive than I remember it being.
I mean, you got that right.
The main gimmick is that you have to kill a certain number of people, and each time you do, your weapon changes, kinda like something else I've seen before. And this game started a whole trend of quick, snappy shooters on the platform. Although I don't really like modern Roblox shooters, but you can definitely understand Arsenal's influence on the platform. Literally everybody was playing this at one point. They even got a bunch of YouTubers to cameo in the game too. Even the bad ones.
Okay, I mean, you didn't really have to mention that, but I get it.
You're right, Chase Rooney.
Who just said that?
It's me, John Arsenal. You have served your purpose for this video. I will kill you now. Bye-bye.
So, whilst both of these games have definitely seen more players in their lifetime, they are significant for the first-person shooter scene of Roblox, which is why I will be giving both a total of 7 out of 10 on the influential scale. Shooters aren't really that big of a genre on this platform nowadays compared to something like roleplay games. Speaking of roleplay games... MeepCity. You know what they say, ain't no party like a MeepCity party. Well, before we get to that, I first need to explain what this experience even is. MeepCity is another roleplay game, but it's one of the first to have a very colorful and simplistic art style with a lot more gameplay variety and customizability than, say, work at a pizza place. And you can even collect the titular Meeps and like raise them or something, but this is unfortunately that part of the video where I tell you bad news. Because the reason this game was influential was not because it did something good, but because it did something bad as well. You see, all was going well for MeepCity until they decided to introduce one key feature that would change the game's history. Parties. Now, some of you might have just shuddered upon hearing this word, but let me explain. MeepCity added a feature where you could throw parties at your house and let any players join. But the thing is, you'd also be able to do anything in them. You know what they say, ain't no party like a Meep Diddy party, bro. There was no genuine moderation system for whatever happened in these parties, so you'd often join and be greeted by exotic road dancers. This is one of the first major incidents of predatory developer behavior, which is kind of why it's so influential. This definitely opened the floodgates to a lot of safety issues on the platform, and the carelessness of the developer definitely didn't help. Nowadays, the game is but a husk of its former self, and despite it being summer when I recorded this, a Christmas event is still ongoing. So, I think it's safe to assume that this game isn't being maintained anymore. Yeah, this game gets like a 5 out of 10 on the influential scale and more like an 8 out of 10 on the Diddy Blood scale, but it's okay, because the next game is in a similar vein to MeepCity, except that it locked in. Adopt Me is yet another roleplay life simulator sort of game where you can adopt people and raise them, or you know, become the child being raised. But isn't that just MeepCity with extra steps? Well, it kinda is. Which is why, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to the Roblox Black Market. Okay, no, we're not doing that again. This game is actually just a trading / gambling simulator hidden underneath a very corporate roleplay game type surface. Everything just looks a little boring and lifeless. It's like if copyright-free music were a game. But the real shtick comes from the pets, because you can gamble! Yeah, so nobody plays Adopt Me for the gameplay or roleplay, because the real deal about this game is that you can raise pets, and there are a lot of them with various rarities, and the whole point is to try and scam children for the coolest pet possible. Not really, but that's kind of what I gathered from it. The reason Adopt Me is so influential is because it's really corporate. It feels feels like the game kinda mastered the formula of keeping you engaged in playing, as well as trying to steal Robux from your wallet every chance it gets. But it just works. It still has a very high amount of players on it, and it even has like real merch and stuff. Adopt Me represents the point where people realize that Roblox game making can actually be profitable. And so this game is influential because, well, come on, everybody was playing this in the pandemic, and like pets are seen everywhere in profitable Roblox games nowadays. I'm not saying it started the whole pets in games trend, but it definitely contributed to it happening, which is why this game gets a nice 10 out of 10 on the influential scale. It's got everything you need for the perfect Roblox moneymaker. Roleplay, gambling, trading, game passes up the wazoo. It's got it all. Clap it up for Adopt Me. Oh, wow. Camping is probably one of the only dead games on this list. Like, I'm talking 30 concurrent players and you can't even play the game most of the time because the lobby is usually hacked and the game is unplayable type of dead. Despite that, you can still make a private server and play the game just fine. But you know what else you can join besides that game? My channel! I now officially have channel memberships, so if you want to show your support for my work, becoming a member is the best way to do so. Back to the video. Camping is a short little horror story game where you and your hypothetical friends go camping together, but stuff just keeps going horribly wrong, from a random scary creature appearing to all sorts of various shenanigans. But this game, well, it's old and sucks balls, but that didn't stop people from eating this up. We got even more installments in the series. Mansion, Hotel, Camping 2, Camping 3, all of these games are made by the same guy. God bless his soul, bro. It even says it in the description of his profile. Camping series is a set of horror story games from 2019 that were notably influential on Roblox. He said the thing! He said the thing! But that begs the age-old question. Why is camping influential? Well, for some reason, people really like this concept. And not only is it easy to get into, but it's just as easy to produce. You probably need a minimal amount of scripting knowledge to make a game like this. Then again, I don't make games, but it still doesn't seem like all that. Anyway, that's the reason camping is influential. It inspired so many other developers to make similar games because of how easy they are to make. It's a simple concept and you end up sacrificing a few of your friends along the way to reach the ending of the story. These types of games were all the hype on Roblox for a very good while, which is why camping gets a nice 8.5 out of 10 on the influential scale. Believe it or not, this genre is still active even to this day, and some of the most notable examples of this are Break-In, a story game that still has a fairly decent amount of players, and 99 Nights in the Forest, a game which is one of the biggest on the platform right now and is most likely a reference to camping. But enough waiting, we have to open the doors for the next game. Doors. Where do I even begin with this game? I feel like it's one of, if not the most mainstream Roblox horror game out there. In fact, this entire video was supposed to be only about Doors and its influence on the platform, so forgive me if I sound a little biased in my commentary. Quick recap in case you're out of the loop. Doors is a horror game. You open doors, you avoid monsters while doing so, and the rooms are randomly generated each time. This game is inspired by another Roblox game called Rooms, but the difference between them is like night and day. Doors was a truly groundbreaking innovation for Roblox. It went absolutely insanely viral when it first launched, and it would be the only thing you'd see on social media. Seriously, you cannot escape the sheer aura of this game, and it's easy to understand why. Doors is so influential purely because it's one of the first ever Roblox games that doesn't look or feel like a Roblox game. Everything you see and interact with has been custom made for this game specifically, from the environments to the monster designs and even the original soundtrack, which whenever I listen to it makes me want to stroke my pickle. And this game was so successful, it inspired a lot of other games to follow in its footsteps, like Pressure and Grace, which is a topic I'd like to get into in a future video. I'm a huge sucker for Doors. I play every single update. I think that's pretty obvious considering how many videos I've made on it. Don't watch the old ones though. And I just have a lot of respect for this charming yet simple game. It has such a recognizable and almost delectable aesthetic, which is why I think Doors should get a 9 out of 10 on the influential scale. The fact that Roblox games can look like this now truly shows that evolution is among us.
Oh my god, not this shit again! Let me just switch the channels. Oh my god, bruh.
Grow a garden. This is the climax of the video. Climax. This is for all the marbles. Look at all of those marbles. This is a garden. Yup, that looks like a garden to me. What the fuck is this game even about? I mean, yeah, sure, you just grow a garden, right? It's in the name. It's a pretty simple game, pretty simple idea, but holy shit. I like to think that there are two sides of people who know about grow a garden. People who just absolutely despise it because they think it's slop, and people who kinda understand why it's become so successful. I'm a mixture of both. Hot take, but grow a garden is the Roblox game equivalent of a Mr. Beast video. It's so well crafted to keep you hooked and playing that it honestly scares me. I mean, yeah, sure, some of you might not see the vision, but it's right there, man. Growing a garden is all you do, but it just works. You plant the seeds, you wait 5 whole minutes, which isn't a lot by the way, get new seeds, plant those, and harvest and make money. It's like the Walter White mixing chemicals gif. This game has broken literal world records, not just in Roblox, but the gaming space as a whole. Now, whether those world records are legitimate or not, considering how many bots there are, doesn't really matter because there are still millions of other people, notably children, playing this game. 20 million people on a video game, on a Roblox game to be specific, is insane. Like, yeah, you can just mindlessly hate the game and just throw shade its way because I've done that too, but that isn't gonna make it lose its millions of consistent active players because Grow a Garden was just doing the right thing at the right time. But obviously, this game's existence led to a giant snowball effect that resulted in shit like Steal a Brain Rot and a lot of other games about stealing for some reason. What, are these developers from Romania or something? That was funny. Anyway, whilst I don't really like Grow a Garden personally, I do have to respect its insane influence and grip it's had on the platform recently, which I think is the reason this should get a 9.5 out of 10 on the influential scale. The reason it doesn't get a 10 out of 10 like Adopt Me is because Adopt Me actually was one of the first to introduce some key features present in Grow a Garden, like pets and whatnot. So that's the list. 10 games, all from pretty different time frames. But you might be asking, what do they have in common, if anything at all? Even if you're not asking that, I'll still answer it. Well, besides all of them being influential, obviously, they're all unique. The secret to making an influential game isn't to follow trends or to make an extremely ambitious project, but it's to just make something original. It just has to feel different and also replayable to a fair extent. As you've noticed, most of these Roblox games are relatively simple. They don't require much thought or skill to play for the most part, which is what makes them accessible to a larger audience. So, in conclusion, if any of these games can teach you anything, it's that you don't need to be an expert in your craft to make something cool, and make something people enjoy. So, who knows? Maybe the next biggest, most influential project out there is currently being worked on as we speak. Let me know in the comments what other games you think are influential and why. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks to my channel members for supporting me, and if you want to also have your name show up at the bottom, you can become a channel member. I'm still trying to figure out how to revamp this outro sequence thing, so join my Discord server if you want to submit some fan art to make it into a future video. Yeah, bye bye.